We have a guest now, Chukwuma Okenwa, public affairs analyst, who is going to be joining us via phone call. I think is around. Good morning, Mr. Chukwuma.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you doing today? You sound sharp.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking about yesterday's inauguration. We've been sharing our views and our thoughts on how everything happened, congratulatory messages to the new president, who has just, sworn his oath to serve. And I want to ask you, what are your initial thoughts on the arrangement and everything that happened at the inauguration?
Yeah, I would say let me join fellow Nigerians to thank the Almighty God for a peaceful transition, because we are aware that ahead of the transition yesterday, the inauguration, there were build-up of concerns, whether like some political gladiators may want to hijack our hard-earned democracy. But I mean, it seemed to be like one of the most peaceful we've had in a time. So that's quite commendable, I must say.
So did you watch the inauguration from beginning to the end?
Yeah, I did. I followed the inauguration, yeah.
And you saw how the president gave his speech. So there's something I wanted to highlight. Initially, I thought he had a teleprompter in front of him because he had a speech written down, but he was looking up as he was speaking. He barely glanced down, and then he looks up and he speaks for a long period of time. What did you think of that? I know we didn't talk about it.
Well, I think, it's the sign of leadership that, I mean, when you have the paper, it should serve as a guide. Your programs and your plans should be like something that is well engraved in your heart, such that anytime, any day when you are called upon, you should be able to tell the people your plans, your initiative. People must not just see it as something from the head, but also something from the heart.
That's amazing.
Yes. Okay, so for me, he said so many things, and the part of the speech for me, which I think is very important and important to highlight, is security. And he says, that security shall be top priority of our administration because neither prosperity nor justice can prevail amid insecurity and violence. He also says that we shall invest more in security personnel, and this means more than increase in number. We shall provide better training, equipment, pay, and firepower. So for me, I'm looking at a president who does not have any military experience or military background, especially, vis-a-vis the outgoing one who came with military experience and background. And I'm saying, does this come across to us as just words or just mere words, or does it instill any form of confidence in you when you heard it, that this, especially in the way it was written, that this is someone who may know how to handle the insecurity challenge that we're facing?
Well, the most important thing about security, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, he has all of the security advices he can ever get. When you have a national security advisor, you have like 3 major intelligence organizations providing intelligence. You get like security briefing on daily basis. All that is just expected of you would be that when policy recommendations are made, as a government that is truly interested in the people, just for you to give your approval and say, if this is workable, then let's do it. Like we know that when you talk about the issue of nation building, it is multifaceted, and a president is not expected to be a polymath, to be Mr. Know-it-all. You have to work with people. When they bring up a policy recommendation, what will really show whether you will succeed or not is your ability to always esteem national interest at every point above personal or parochial interest.
Okay, so I wanted to go into the part of his speech because, you see, when we listen to a lot of us come to the presidential speech with the expectation that, we're going to have a clear idea of what the new administration will be doing. And he gave us that He gave us a sense of that, highlighting the economy, because the two key things that are challenges for us as a country right now, it is security and the economy. If we can solve security and the economy, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will feel like, oh, this is amazing. But it's not like there's one way to do that. He spoke about the fact that there's a target of 6% growth in GDP, and he highlighted the fact that there will be emphasis on infrastructural development. But what would you say, amongst all the things he said he was going to do concerning the economy, would you feel would have the maximum impact on the lower bottom of the population?
Yeah, certainly. If you ask me, I think President Tinubu, with his team, has been able to review the two major sources of our income as a nation, or money for work in our economy, vis-a-vis when you talk about the federal allocation, which come from the oil, and in a bid to see how we can rejig that sector and make it work better, he came up with a policy of removal of the oil subsidy, which is commendable, and I think it's something also that we would expect to go alongside with, like to fix the refineries, have most of our oil refined, so that we don't have like any of like even paying either so much high cost or paying to have it subsidized. So that aspect of infrastructure, I think you mentioned, should also go into the aspect of the refineries, fixing the refineries to function optimally, to be able to help the economy. And then when you now look at economic growth, pointing out, prioritizing the issue of security, which is part of the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. You can agree with me that areas that are threatened security-wise, businesses also don't thrive. Yeah. I live in the Southeast. Every Monday, businesses are shut down because of security concerns. Today also, that is declared a sit at home. We are just seated at home. Businesses cannot go. So I see a nexus between a secured nation and, of course, a prosperous one. And then to make it better as well, I think one of the excitement I have is the fact that the administration also prioritized the issue of jobs. When you are talking about increasing the internally generated revenues, you understand that Nigerian economy is largely informal. You have SMEs playing critical role. And so if we don't have like a template to rejig these businesses, to rejuvenate them, incentivize them to thrive, and even have a situation where businesses and startups can access loans at single digits. With that, we can be sure that for the very first time, we could have the Nigerian economy growing at a double digit. Because we're commending him to like step up from the usual 1.5, 2.5 to aim to 6. I mean, it's doable. By the time he gets that at step 1, he can also begin to aspire for a double-digit growth, which is possible.
Amazing, sir. So one of the items in the speech that I really liked was the fact that he talked about setting up agricultural hubs all across the country so that at least we can curb some issues, especially like wastage. We know that over the years, our farmers are not able to preserve their products. Now, how do you think this is going to come to bear? I don't know if there's a plan to probably work with private partnership with organizations and multinationals that have their main companies in Africa to partner to get these hubs across. I don't know if everything will be, coming from government coffers. How do you see this agricultural hub possible?
Of course, partnering with those multinationals and organizations will be a secondary option. The role of subnationals and, of course, the local government areas is primary and critical. We will hope to see how the president of Nigeria would be able to, through the Ministry of Agriculture, work with all the commissioners of agriculture, come up with a policy template that should be adopted and adopted by different states. And then we can have a situation where that would be possible, because if we can spread this prosperity all across Nigeria, such that first, one of the first mark in economics to know a rich nation is a nation that can feed itself. A situation where when you look at the amount of money that we spend in investing foods, as at the last time I checked, we can employ over 600,000 young persons, paying them an annual salary of about 6 million, right? Yearly. So when you look at that, you find out that we can save a lot of that money, and then, if we're able to feed ourselves and even feed other nations that are across Africa.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwuma. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us.